back.
Success!
Birthday stream. Thank you, Ben. So for this year's birthday stream, there were several things I was considering. I decided we would play through some Super Nintendo. How you doing, Ben? So for today's stream, we're going to play a little Super Mario World, and then I think I'll take a request off somebody in the chat for another game to play. Clem? I'm getting by. Hey, Emily. Hey, Amber. Thank you for the raid. How is Detroit going? Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, Amber has a sound alert, remember? You enjoying it? Excellent. I still haven't played it.
I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
Excellent. So we're playing Super Nintendo stuff today. I'm gonna play Super Mario World for a little bit, and then I'm gonna ask one person in chat, lucky person in chat, to choose another game. And that person will never be Clem. Because I don't want to play Mega Man X today. You know what? Valid. Yeah. Don't get to hear your story now. I appreciate that, Amber. Thank you for raiding. Alright, what did it say? Hey, thank you, Megumi. I hope your day is going well. I hope to be back in your stream soon. You're going for all the Phantom Liberty endings? That's odd. I went for one. It's going. I feel that. What Super Nintendo games are off the table? We'll say none of them. Thanks, Megumi. You have a good day. You wanted the trophies? Ugh. Yeah, we'll say, like, no Super Nintendo games are off the table, but there's no guarantee how long I'll play something for before I turn around and say, you know what? Let's have another game request. The ads are turned off. There's no stopping us. I think that's the story of Cyberpunk. Like, there is no genuinely happy ending. I was happy with the ending I got for the main campaign. For Phantom Liberty, maybe less so. But Phantom Liberty kept me guessing with what I wanted to do. Yep. I know there's one ending in Phantom Liberty is like unequivocally the worst ending. That is the goal you've been searching for the entire game, but absolutely in like a monkey's paw kind of way. Hey, Spunk. That's right, I'm currently 79 years old. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yep, that's the one. I didn't get that one, I read about that after the fact. Easy lives. There we go. Yeah, so we're currently going to be taking requests for something. Every so often I'm going to turn to the camera and be like, let's play a different game, and I'll give a name, and that name will get to choose what the next game is. I have a pretty comprehensive library of Super Nintendo ROMs. See, the thing for me with that kind of thing is, like, I was pretty heavily invested in the role-playing aspect of it, and I feel like the ending I got is my ending, so I don't have any interest in seeing the other endings. Though I'll admit I was tempted to go back and do, like, the solo raid on Arasaka. And that is how you be absolutely excellent at Super Mario World. But that's the thing, isn't it? Like real life, you often don't have all the information. Like, you'll probably have an interesting experience if we ever actually get around to it of role-playing Baldur's Gate 3 finale. Maybe you could roleplay as somebody who is attracted to sexy monster women. Yeah, Super Mario World's a classic. I have beaten it on stream numerous times, 100%. And it's just generally fun. And yet you can't see that. That's because you don't know these women, Clint. I remember when I first met Lae'zel and I was like, And then I first spoke to Lae'zel and I was like, And I spent hours around Lae'zel and I was like, But then, like, the character develops over, like, tens of hours, and she gets very relatable. And you start appreciating her as a person. Alright, who is currently here? Amber said she'd be lurking. So, Bane. Big Bada Bane. Pick a game. I think it's like the strength of the writing aspect in that sense. That a character does become more appealing. Donkey Kong Country 2. Ooh. Fucking Christ, accept this. Yeah, I think that's the strength of the character writing. That you can grow to appreciate these characters as people, as flawed beings. So this is the Donkey Kong Country that I've never really played. I had the original as a kid. And I later had DKC3. And I think DKC3 is genuinely underrated. I've been meaning for years to do a full playthrough of this game. Okay. See if that makes that look any more tolerable. Hey, you know what? That looks alright. Yeah, I've been meaning for years to do a playthrough of this on stream. Why I'm of course familiar with Dixie Kong from Donkey Kong Country 3. Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. Now let's turn the shader off. Yeah. Rambi! I believe Rambi is the only animal buddy brought back from DKC1 into DKC2. Yeah. I say that, like, surely On Guard makes an appearance somewhere. Squawks is also brought back? Good old Squawkers. This would probably be a good game to play multiplayer with somebody. Switch Online has it. I was going through Switch Online this week. I was going through like all the Switch Online stuff, and I was looking at like what had been added. They'd added like one new N64 game. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was DK64. It was straight up Donkey Kong 64. They added something else to the Game Boy Advance and something. They added the Sword of Hope 2 and another game to Game Boy. Like, it's a pretty substantial collection now. But the point I'm getting to, DKC 1, 2, and 3 are on there. And maybe I'll one day drag Chance into it. But hey, Chance, join me for Co-op DKC 2. It will go terribly. Chance does not seem to be much of a platformer gamer. In the Donkey Kong Country series, if I was playing this co-op with another person, I'd be playing as Diddy Kong, then I'd go. What's the tag button? Select. Why is it select? And then this would be player 2. Or like if Diddy died, then player 2 would take control as Dixie. So it's not entirely simultaneous. But it's closer to simultaneous than any of the Mario games were. No, it's never too late to play it. I never played this DKC. Like I say, I had DKC 1 as a kid. And then later, when we got another Super Nintendo, I had DKC 3. I've never really played this one. And like, if you have a Switch and you have Switch Online, all 3 are on there. The German version. Does it still have the English language, or do you have to play it in German? And Switch Online is generally like a really good thing for online multiplayer. On the Super Nintendo, at least, I've played a good amount of Super Mario World with Chance on Switch Online. And it works pretty well. I've played through a bunch of stuff with Teak on Switch Online. You can play it in English. Excellent. Yeah, what have I done? I played through Super Mario World with Peak. through Switch Online. I played through Super Mario Bros. 3 with Teak through Switch Online, which is the only time I've played all the way through the NES version, because Teak wanted to play the NES version of Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah, Crank is the original Donkey Kong. Do that again. There we go. It's like for all the stuff I'll criticize the Switch Online stuff for, being able to play multiplayer with people who live like anywhere else, as long as they're on your friends list, is genuinely great. And it does generally work quite well. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there now. Like, the N64 library is quite substantial, and most of it's really good. I went through and counted it when I was looking through the whole thing the other day, and they're up to 32 games now for the N64 stuff. Which I think is more than any of the virtual consoles had. Which is great. And almost all of it is stuff you would want. Given that they've gotten access to all that stuff for Switch Online, there was always the question, like, Bane, you'll remember, because we did this a bunch in person back in the day, of, like, if Nintendo did a Nintendo 64 Mini, like, what games would they get together? And all the stuff they've gotten together for the Switch Online, like, the majority of it's really good stuff that I would be like, yeah, that would absolutely fit. Stuff like, they got Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie on there. DK64's on there now. Yeah, it was short-lived. It's come out recently. I feel like recently. From Nintendo themselves, like, they confirmed it. The NES Mini and the Super Nintendo Mini were basically just because the Wii U was failing financially, and they needed something to make money. And it was unlikely they would have ever done anything more than that. I think Reggie's the one that said that. Like, one of Reggie's rare post-leaving Nintendo interviews. Yep, the PS1 Mini, the biggest fumble. I knew On Guard had to be back. It's kind of wild, like, because considering just how good the PlayStation library is, you could ask like 10 people, 20 games that you think define the PlayStation, and there'd be a bunch of crossover. Like, Final Fantasy VII would end up being on there. I would say 7 defined the PlayStation more so than 9 did. Crash Bandicoot would absolutely be on there, maybe Spyro. Metal Gear Solid, possibly Symphony of the Night. I did mod mine, it was incredibly easy. I ended up actually giving it to Amber. Like, especially now that I just have other PS1 emulation solutions. But at the time I had it, like, it was the best emulation solution I had for PlayStation. And it was convenient as well. Yeah, Twisted Metal was on there, the first Twisted Metal. Though I would argue Twisted Metal 2 was the better game. But that becomes the question of, like, the better versus the arguably more important. Because, like, Resident Evil 1's on there, and Resident Evil 1 is arguably more important than Resident Evil 2, but 2 is undeniably the better game. It was Director's Cut, yeah. Not DualShock Director's Cut, though, so that was alright. I think Sony not including DualShock controllers was a mistake. Like, for one real reason, and that meant they couldn't have... Like, there wasn't a big amount of platformers on it, because, like, there was no Crash Bandicoot, there was no... Welcome in, T. Thank you. There was no Crash Bandicoot, there was no Spyro. I think the platforming representation was Rayman and Jumping Flash. But if they made it with DualShock controllers, it would have had the option of Ape Escape, which is a Sony-owned property. PS3 absolutely does. No Dino Crisis on there, which would have been a good choice. But like, let's be real though. It did have a good selection of stuff in some regards. Like Final Fantasy VII, yeah. It's the first time that Tekken 3, the PlayStation 1 version of Tekken 3, had ever been re-released. Great. It's a shame that the hardware and emulation was rough enough that it couldn't really handle it. And so they had to put the PAL ROM on there, so it ran slower. Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil 1. And I think, like, everything else was stuff you could really argue with. The biggest, like, why is this here, I think, was the Rainbow Six game. It's a rip. This is Gangplank Galleon. Yay! Bye. Tomb Raider was not on there, no. So again, like, you're missing PS1 staples. No Crash, no Spyro, no Tomb Raider. No Castlevania, which, at the time, was probably a thing of, like, take or leave. But in the years following was like, no, this was a defining game of the PlayStation. Like, modding it was genuinely a really good idea. Well, there he goes. I don't think we're getting him back. Yeah, at the time, modding it was genuinely a really good idea because emulation... It's kind of wild how accessible emulation has become in the years since. Like, so much more accessible in a lot of ways. But, like, hell, at the time, it was my most viable PS1 emulation solution. Look at me now. So modding it was, like, absolutely a good idea. And it was super simple to do. And it let you take advantage of the PS1's genuinely fantastic library. Throw Dino Crisis on there, Dino Crisis 2. Silent Hill wasn't on there, which you can really argue Silent Hill deserved the place. I think the only system that would be harder to, like, create a definitive top 20 list after the PS1 would be, like, the only system that would be harder for would be the PS2. But the fact that there's games that weren't included that everybody would absolutely agree were classics that should have been on there, defining moments of the PlayStation. It's like, you look at the Super Nintendo Mini, I think the Super Nintendo Mini is, like, the best example of it. It's like 20 games. Ignore Star Fox 2 being there. "20 games. Bitch. And, like, not all of them are to my taste. Like, I don't enjoy Street Fighter, so Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo being there was never for me. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, not for me. But do I agree that they are, like, defining experiences on the Super Nintendo? Absolutely. Secret of Mana being on there? Absolutely. I would have probably gone with Chrono Trigger over Secret of Mana, but I think with Final Fantasy VI being on there as well, I think having an action RPG rather than another JRPG was probably the smart call for variety. And while personally I do think Chrono Trigger is the better game over Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VI definitely had the broader market appeal. So I think you can understand why they went with Final Fantasy VI over Chrono Trigger. Clem, do you want to pick a game? That's a full bottle gone in 38 minutes, and that's pacing myself. Top Gear, you cheeky dickwaff. Do I actually have Top Gear is a relevant question. I don't actually have Top Gear because it's not a game that appeals to me. I say that, and there's fucking uni racers. Super Punch-Out. Yeah, I have Super Punch-Out. Again, Super Punch-Out, not a game that really appeals to me. There it is. But I absolutely understand its place on the Super Nintendo Mini. Excellent. T, do you want to pick another game now? Can you imagine? Well, Top Gear is considered to be, like, a genuine classic of the Super Nintendo. That is underrated because it doesn't have, like, a big name to it. Alright. I've never played this past, like, the second opponent.
Yay! Fight!
Can you imagine if I won just constantly doing, like, left hooks?
Come on! Come on! Yay!
Sorry, I didn't know we were allowed to just cheat like that.
One, two, three, four.
But yeah, whenever I hear Top Gear mentioned on Super Nintendo, it's always considered like a genuinely great racing game that's underrated, underappreciated.
One, two,
With a cane in the final circuit, we ain't playing that far.
seven. Fight!
Get right back up and immediately just clock him in the face.
Knockout! Pizza cake!
New record! That was the easiest opponent, Ben. Yeah, so I've never played past this guy. Mostly because the game doesn't hold any real interest to me.
Fight!
Yeah, I don't think that's a regulation boxing attire.
Fight!
Yeah, I think it being puzzle fights is why it didn't appeal to me. Bear in mind, I've not tried playing this in over 15 years. I was very aggressive with a lot of this stuff in my youth. So not being able to just wail on people didn't appeal to me when I was younger. I've become a lot more strategic in my age.
Pizza cake.
I think it's most apparent when I'm playing racing games. Now I'll use the brake too. During the count to gain health. Ah. I got an extra life. Tell you, Clem, if you... It's not even just brakes, sometimes just letting go of the accelerator. That's my real evolution as a racing game player.
Piston Hurricane. Fight.
Hold up, it's a high guard, don't do anything, it's nothing.
Fight.
I think one thing that was genuinely amazing to me when I first played it was the Forza Horizon games that give you the option of like being as arcadey or simulation as you want. Bitch! See, I've played a few. When I got my Xbox One originally, it came with Forza Motorsport 7, and I didn't really enjoy it. I feel like that one is like a lot more simulation. I didn't hear no bro.
Fight.
Quick, play the Rocky 4 soundtrack. It's the only way to power me up.
One, two. Fight.
Bitch.
Knockout.
Yeah. So, Clem, I've spoken to you about Punch-Out on the Wii. I have a patch for it that allows you to play it with a controller. Could be something you'd be interested in that regard.
Bull. Fight.
Yeah, I got a bunch of, they're essentially kind of cheat codes, gecko codes they call them, for a bunch of Wii games that just allow you to use a controller for them. It essentially works as remapping a lot of it as controller buttons. Punch Out is one of them. I've not played that a huge amount yet, or like at all, to really test it. The other ones that I've tested, though, work really nicely. Played a bunch of Lego Indiana Jones on the Wii for it. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I've got one for that does it. And, like, you can spend the time setting up a controller profile to have this map to controller, which is what I've ended up doing with Super Mario Galaxy. Which I gave that controller profile to Teak, and he seems to be happy enough with it. Like, this is just like a nice... Jesus Christ. A nice, simple solution that works really well. It's great for emulation purposes. Like when playing on my emulation handheld. Particularly because, like, my choice with LEGO Star Wars is if I play it on, like, GameCube or PS2, my choice is, like, LEGO Star Wars 1 and LEGO Star Wars 2. But with the Wii version, with controller support added, it's the complete saga, which is the best way to play the original games. Well, that's that. Did I go the distance? Who do we got? Here. Teak, do you want to pick a Super Nintendo game for us? Yeah, like, it's really nice. I'll send you the code and like tell you how to set it up if you want, and you can just play it for yourself. I imagine you'd enjoy just like a fresh Punch-Out experience. I imagine Teak's probably lurking. Bane, do you want to pick another game? Do I want to pick another game? No, we'll let Bane pick another game. Yeah, so I got stuff like that for a bunch of games. The Wii version of RE4, it's not a controller patch, because the Wii version of RE4 natively supports Wii Classic controller and the GameCube controller. Like, whenever I'd say to people, oh, the Wii version of RE4 is the best version, they're like, oh, but the Wii controls, like, one, shut the fuck up, the Wii controls on RE4 are really fucking good. Like, they're broken good. And two, you can just play it with a controller. You can play it with the GameCube controller if you want. ActRaiser, nice. The issue with playing RE4 on the Wii is, to start it, it requires you to have a nunchuck. Absolutely, yeah. Here it is, ActRaiser. To start RE4 on the Wii requires the Wiimote connected to the nunchuck, which is stupid. So the code I have for that is just, the patch I have for that just removes that check. And it's absolutely fine. So Clem, this is the game I was talking to you about recently, in comparison with Dark Cloud. Here's the fun thing for you, and it's something that I never picked up on. But like I was going through Instagram reels. I think it was this morning, and there was a reel that came up that said, "Hey, you know the item acquisition fanfare from Metroid? The that's literally like the exact same melody is like obtaining an item in the East series." And it like goes through like various incarnations of the Metroid version and the East version, and it gets to the East 1 and 2 Chronicles version, and it's like, yeah, I remember this playing when we were doing it. It's like, yeah, it's straight up the same melody, just different tones. But it's like do 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 do. It's the same fucking thing. It's ridiculous that anybody was allowed to get away with it. Let's go. Blood pool. Am I ready? Go, brave mecha! It's a little stiff. This is definitely a game I would use as an example of, like, Square and Enix putting out more interesting stuff when they were separate rather than when they were together. When they merged. Hmm. So it seems like standard hack and slash fare. A little stiff, but like nothing too unexpected for the Super Nintendo. Of course it despawned. I always appreciate games where, like, there's a backswing, and the backswing counts as a hitbox. Yeah, the Quinset games. One day I'll do Soul Blazer so we can do Illusion of Gaia, so we can do Terra Enigma. That's right, horseman. Dead. Ain't no horseman gonna stop me. Honestly, I've not even looked at the ActRaiser Renaissance. Like, it's supposed to be a remake of this, isn't it? Okay, so we cleared that area, and now there are people here who will worship at the temple of Big Man. I guess lightning? That didn't work. Oh, it did work. Excellent. Talk to the people. Kind of a remake, you know. Yeah, build town. Heaven and Hell, God and Devil themes. They're good simple themes. No, you bastards. Stealing my people. Alright. So, like, this is the balance you get with ActRaiser 1 that I think really... destroy hands, as you said. Like, it really gave ActRaiser its identity. And when ActRaiser 2 cuts this out for, like, much more focus on the side-scrolling action, it generally is considered to be much weaker as a result. You bastards. Yeah, what do you want to say? What's east, you say? Hmm. Stop that. And we're making progress. Yeah. Bane, did you ever play... Did you ever play Evo Search for Eden? No, I don't think it did get a PAL release. It's a Curious Enix game. It's definitely rough. It's got a really interesting premise of, like, going through history and evolving as a creature and choosing your evolutionary path. It's very grindy. Like, absolutely fascinating to go to experience. Doing that, you bastards. Hey, Panda. SNES Drunk does a good review of it. Yeah, I believe that as SNES Drunk. I've probably watched it at some point. I first discovered Evo way back in my old emulating days. One of those games that I ended up trying, and because of its weirdly fascinating premise, just kind of stuck with me. There we go. They did it. They did it. Fantastic. Gotcha. Going around Liverpool? Yeah, you said you were going to be in Liverpool. Your level is 0-2 and your HPR 9. Yeah, so you see why I Robo Trick. Am I aware of that one? Yeah. So you see why I compared it to Dark Cloud, Clem? A rock, you say? Like, the sim aspects of it are not as deep as something like SimCity, which on Super Nintendo is an absolutely fascinating thing to exist. I feel like Persona 3, the sim aspect and, like, the sim light aspect and the lighter side-scrolling aspect, like, neither of them has to be amazing for it to just be such a absolutely defining experience. Let's get rid of this one. I hope they can build a bridge. Oh, we hit 200. We hit a population of 200. That's right. Can I not get across there? Or do I have to save that for the last one? Because it is the only one that's different. A bomb? I feel like this is absolutely the kind of game you'd play on like a lazy Sunday as a kid. Do it. Do it. They did it. Oh, what do they want to say? Build bridges. Wonderful. Now we can finally go and defeat that last one. What a wonderful town. There's a dog over there. Yeah! Alright, spread out a little closer. We're almost there. Now seal it. Nightmares, you say? Minotaurus. Curse the people with death. Thank you. Alright, let's deal with this. Let's go! And this is generally how the game progresses. And, like, especially for the time, it's such an odd combination of genres. Which is, like, the entire reason people remember it and it stands out as an experience worth remembering. You're right, Clem, I am how the game progresses. Pretty close to death already. These enemies with range attacks, I'm not used to dealing with them. Yes! Again.
No! No!
Bitch. At one point, I want health. Always health. But yeah, the control is kind of stiff, but you can mostly get used to it. Like, if you grew up playing Super Nintendo or you spent a significant amount of time on Super Nintendo, you can get used to this. I did it. Or if I have full health, then I won't need health. Those jumps felt less comfortable than I was making them look. Oh no, the Minotaurus. And his Speedo of Death. What do you mean ad starts in 5 minutes? There are no ads scheduled. Yeah, so I think that's a good show of ActRaiser. I literally just left. Unfortunately, nothing happened. Yeah, I think ActRaiser is absolutely, like, with its genre combinations, a standout of interest. Is it the most refined game on Super Nintendo? No, of course not. But a genre mashup of this kind in this time period, super interesting. And I'd recommend it. So, Clib, since you're the only other person in chat right now, do you want to choose the next game? And yeah, like Bane said, there is the kind of remake of this available, ActRaiser Renaissance, which I believe is on all modern platforms. If there's a modern platform it's not on, it's probably Xbox. Turtles in Time? Turtles in Time. Which is a game I have actually streamed before, but I played through the arcade version with Seek. I don't understand why Konami got rid of that logo. Like, I feel like you can separate classic Konami with garbage Konami just by the logo. Jump attack special. Who should I play as? Donatello. Mikey, get off the TV.
Big Apple, 3 a.m.
Oh boy, arcade game for 4. Now who should I play as? It's crazy that this is a 2-button fighter. Or 2-button beat 'em up. Ba ba da ba da ba 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 da da. Yeah, so I believe the Super Nintendo version of this is considered to be the superior way to play it. There's extra levels added over the arcade release, and I think the only downgrade over the arcade release that's of like real note is that it's 2-player rather than 4-player. Yeah, because I remember when I was playing this with Teak, because like I say, I have streamed Turtles in Time before. Teak and I played through the whole thing on the arcade version when we were testing out the fart. The Fightcade connectivity. And I was like, there are levels missing here. I was like, oh no, they're just not in the arcade version, they're only in the Super Nintendo version. I was like, wow. So if you're a fan of Turtles in Time, I absolutely recommend checking out the Mega Drive version, the Hyperstone Heist, which is a really cool alternate version of Turtles in Time. Like, I think the general consensus is that Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo is the best way to play this game. But it's not as though Hyperstone Heist is a bad version. It's just different. And if you're a fan of this, it's probably worth playing both.
Alley Cat Blues.
If I'd had this as a kid, I might have grown up with a love of beat-em-ups. Because, like, co-op beat-em-ups are where the beat-em-up genre really thrives. Absolutely classic stuff. But the beat-em-ups I had when I was a kid were Batman Returns, which is a single-player beat-em-up, which people will tell you is great. I'm not going to tell you it isn't, it's just not my jam. And the co-op beat-em-up I had was Batman Forever, which nobody will tell you is great because it's not. See, that's what makes Turtles in Time. It's not that it's a solid beat-em-up, it's that it's got some great personality. No! Like, it being a solid beat-em-up helps, but like, there are other solid beat-em-ups. The personality is really what does it. Yeah, the little things are underappreciated as a concept. And you only really, like, a lot of people only really take notice of the little things when the little things go wrong. And they say, like, you know, the little things add up. Yes, Manhattan Project, I believe, is Ninja Turtles 3. Oh, come on, you jumped out of your plane there to do that. Pizza! Being able to throw the enemies at the screen, great. Quick, kill chance. God, he's got a gun. Cowabunga. How you doing, Chance? Thank you for the birthday wishes. So yeah, I believe, like, this stage is in the arcade version, but this stage ends and you immediately go back in time. Whereas in this game, this version, you have this level, and you go into the Technodrome, and you have, like, the boss fight where you throw enemies at the screen. And then you get sent back in time. Pizza! Well, that was the worst time to do that. Venomoth? Jens, I was telling everybody about how we should, when you're available again, do a co-op playthrough of Donkey Kong Country 2. The Rat King? I can't pause the game. Having a good day. I'm getting by. Yeah. No, you can pause it. Pause is just on select for some reason. Alright. Yeah. I'm letting chat choose the games that I play for a little bit, and Bane chose Donkey Kong Country 2, which is the only game in the Donkey Kong Country trilogy that I haven't really played. I had the first one as a kid, and then later on we had the third one, and I never really played the second. Start joins again? That could make sense. The Technodrome?
Technodrome. Let's kick Shaun.
I have beaten the original Donkey Kong Country on stream before. I don't know if that's in the archive, though. I don't like these things. What are they? Are they the 80s version of the Mouserbots? I've not seen a lot of the 80s Ninja Turtles. Oh no, there's the Mouserbots. Yeah, so we'll play till we go back in time, and then we'll let Chance choose the next game. Chance, think of a Super Nintendo game. And then when I ask you for it, tell me. You got one in mind? Mm-hmm. Is Donatello the most underappreciated Ninja Turtle? Why we're playing as him? That and because we were not allowed to play as Venus the Milam. Righto, get your ugly mug off the TV. Toka? Razor? Turtle tits? It's over for you.
Pizza time.
Did pretty well with that. They're attacking me with tuning forks. Yeah. One day we'll do Injustice on stream. The Injustice 2 had the Ninja Turtles as DLC. I died on turtle soup.
Oh, Delta.
This is such an inspired concept for a boss from this time period.
Oh, Delta.
I feel like it would probably work better on a more modern system with a higher resolution, just so you could have Shredder at the front here and not have him taking up half the fucking screen. But it's such a cool idea from this time period, and it's original to the Super Nintendo version. This wasn't in the arcade. I mean, if anything was taken from Battletoads, it's probably fair because, like, I feel like Battletoads took a lot from Ninja Turtles. Whoa.
Prehistoric Turtlesaurus.
Alright, Chance, what you got for us? All water. Battletoads. I think the arcade version, of Battletoads, I think, went down a lot better, but... Ooh... Who played Battletoads in the arcade? Yeah, so what you got for us, Chance? What are we playing? Oh, I don't have that because why the fuck would I? There you go. I have 2 games with W on them. one of them's Japanese, and I think originally required the Super Nintendo mouse. Power Rangers, I have Power Rangers. I don't have Power Rangers. Why do I have Power Rangers? I did a Let's Play weekend one-off on Power Rangers. Why don't I have Power Rangers? Yeah, like Bane remembers, I did play Power Rangers for Let's Play one time. So I've had the ROM. Why don't I have it now? I mean, maybe you should have had better childhood games, Chance. Like, you know, one of the games that I had in my childhood? Alien 3. I don't think I've got the Lion King because I have no interest in engaging in that nonsense. I don't have the Lion King. I have the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. If you want a Disney game. A lot of movie tie-ins. These are kids' movies. They'll be fine, right? Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. I also had this at some point when I was a kid. Although oddly, I also had Mickey Mania. Aladdin. I absolutely adore Aladdin. I had Aladdin as a kid, and it's a great game. And we've done it before. We've done it before on stream with Chance on mic. Do I have it physically? I thought the only Super Nintendo game I had physically was Terra Enigma now. Alright, so you want to do Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse, Chance? Yeah. You say sure as if it's a compromise. Like, you can choose something else if you want. And eventually we'll come up on something that I have on here. Actually, is Power Rangers under M? There it is. We do have Power Rangers. It's under M. There you go. Yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I remember when I did the weekend one-off of this, I chose to play as Kimberly, because all the Power Rangers characters have different sprites here, and Billy's looks the worst. Like, he looks like a complete dork who has no arms. And Rita has fallen asleep. But yeah, I chose Kimberly because, like, I know all the Power Ranger forms are just the same sprite recolored. So I was like, is that true of Kimberly as well? Because Kimberly had the skirt. It is true of Kimberly. Kimberly doesn't have the skirt in this. And we might as well show it. Teenagers with attitude. No, that's an issue that OBS has. For some reason, if I've got OBS as the primary, like my focused tab, it won't show up on OBS, and I don't know why. He's got a knife! You remember the Power Rangers? Like, very much aimed at kids when the putties just started pulling out knives. Oh, they can crouch. They figured it out. For him, I would never say anything so vulgar. Cunt. I think Amy Jo Johnston was the only member of the cast who wasn't a martial artist. She was a gymnast. I don't know, like, freeze framing that, it doesn't look like she has muscular arms. It looks like the, that part of her arm is just, like, really hanging low. Also, like, look at the waist on her. That doesn't seem right. That belt looks like it's far too tight. There is definitely something there, though. Like, when her arms are moving up and down, that she does look like she has thick biceps. I'll definitely agree to that. Oh no, it's the pirate skeleton. Pterodactyl! Well, you can see, like, it's a completely different body type on Kimberly. But also, like, I don't think that helmet is Kimberly's. Like, it doesn't have, like, the nose ridge going down on it. But that's also, like, especially not Kimberly's bottom suit, because Kimberly had the skirt. Can't believe they're throwing dreidels at me. Like, looking at this, is this supposed to be Jason? Like, did they just make the Jason Power Ranger sprite and then recolored it? It's weird they do that for the Power Rangers when they don't do it for them in their non-powered form. And, like, Kimberly's got her own weapon here. Like, she has the bow. She's using it like a sword for some reason. But she has the bow. But it's one of those cases, like, it's weird to see where the effort went and where it didn't. Figured out how to use it as a bow. It doesn't seem to do a whole lot. Oh, it's the Power Rangers, they'll save us. What's she doing to my car? I don't know. I feel like in some cases in 3D, like, a lot of that effort was still not there. Like, the main thing you didn't see in 3D, or that you saw a lot in 2D, even like high-quality 2D games like Zelda and such, was the mirrored sprite effect. Because you had a 3D model now. If it turned one way, it was still facing that way, and you could keep something in the same hand and such, and it wouldn't be mirrored. Or like a directional scar, like Sagat has, which in Street Fighter 2 is mirrored if he's on the opposite side of the screen. Oh, don't worry about him, he's harmless. I don't. Like, with this one, it's not so bad. It's four characters, and they're numerical. Not a problem. Whenever any game wants to be more complex and track multiple systems, the variables of it required so many different variations on passwords. That's why you ended up with games with like 20 character passwords with alphanumerical and upper and lowercase. It's like just having a save system, like absolutely something I'm glad for, and I have no interest in going back to passwords. Yeah, with the zeros that look like O's and the L's that look like uppercase I's. I think what you're talking about is the Simpsons Family Guy crossover, and it might be both Peter and Homer doing that. Bane, do you want to pick? You know what? No, Bane and Climmer both had two. Chance, do you want to pick another game? You've also had two. It's possible, Clem. Yeah, passwords could be good for that stuff, but there was also the thing of like, especially in the PS1, PS2 days, memory cards, like transferable saves you could just carry in your pocket. Once they stopped being transferable like that, that was when you end up with the problem of nowadays where you can't do that. Yeah, really was, and especially when you had memory card, when you had games that took up multiple blocks. Like I remember Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver took up 3 blocks on PS1. Yeah, let's take a look. It was Homer, yeah, in Brazil. The main thing I remember from that episode is him trying to leave Bart in the taxi. I mean, you and I both we started with Super Mario World, but you and I both know how Super Mario World goes with you. It's odd. There's The Simpsons Going to Brazil is one of the few episodes I've seen past Simpsons exiting its prime. That's right, Dolphin Master Chance. Past Simpsons exiting its prime, but it's also one I've seen multiple times for some reason. Yoshi's World? You mean Yoshi's Island? Super Mario World 2? Or do you mean Yoshi's Cookie? Yeah. We'll play the original release. Another game like I've just not played much of because I didn't have it as a kid. So one of the tracks they added to Mario Kart 8 in the booster pack, where they added like all the new the 4 new cups, is a Yoshi's Island track. Like one of the ones that isn't taken from Mario Kart Tour is a Yoshi's Island track. And it has the Yoshi's Island aesthetic and it looks fantastic. Yeah, I never had this, and I never played much of it in emulation. And I didn't have it on GBA. I didn't have any Mario games on GBA. I've played more of Yoshi's Island DS than I have of this, and I did not like Yoshi's Island DS. But I've heard that's not an uncommon thing. It's perfect for licking balls. It's weird to me that there isn't a run button. Like, it makes me uncomfortable that there's not a run button. Yeah, I didn't have any Mario games on GBA, but the GBA is where I got into Metroid, with Metroid Fusion. The absolute classic. Yeah. It's fun. It's funny to consider with that game. Like, you watch me play it now, and I'm really good at it. But I first played that game, and I died repeatedly to the first boss. And then died repeatedly to a lot of that game. That game was a struggle for me to accomplish. Stupid bitch. think Metro Prime was my second. I forget what exactly I played Super Metroid. Super Metroid was recommended to me by either my dad or my granddad on emulation. Because we had, like, an emulation disc on Xbox. Because we had a modded Xbox when I was younger, original Xbox, and one of the discs we had, like, a lot of emulators on it. Like, old emulators. So I played a bunch of Super Nintendo stuff on there. And I've never really vibed with Super Metroid. Prime I have a love-hate relationship with. But I think Prime is great until probably, if not the first time you go into the phase on mines, then the second time. And, like, from there, I just don't generally enjoy playing the game anymore, but I'm that far, I might as well finish it. If you're interested at any point, Chance, Prime Remastered on Switch, it is a good version of Prime. It's a great way to play Metroid Prime. It's got a weird as fuck control scheme if you decide to play it on controller. But it's a damn fine way to play the original Metroid Prime. I think Prime Hack is still my preferred way to play it. Yeah, and given that you can't buy Metroid Prime Trilogy for a good price anymore because the Wii U eShop shut down. Like, that was a game, Metroid Prime Trilogy was a game you should have been absolutely okay with buying digitally, because that went up in price very quickly. And so when Nintendo put it out on the Wii U eShop for $20, anybody who was interested in it should have bought it. If you're interested, though, at some point, I'll walk you through setting up Prime Hack for Dolphin. Like I say, I think Prime Hack is the best way to play Metroid Prime 1 and 2. It's so fast. Shut up. But yeah, Prime Hack is a great way of playing it. I feel like everybody's Wii U collection is quite small just by necessity of the Wii U not having that much. Yeah, Twilight Princess HD. Understand that. That said, though, it does feel like the Dusklight port. Like, you should be down to get Dolphin just generally anyway. It does feel like the Dusklight port of Twilight Princess is the best way to play Twilight Princess if you're not capable of emulating Wii U. Chance, getting Dolphin should have been one of the first things you did after getting your laptop. So many class GBA so many class GameCube games that you just cannot buy. Look at that. Look how good I am. Probably shouldn't throw a child like that. Yeah, you really shouldn't have started Final Fantasy XIV. That was a mistake. Like, I'll admit you can't help that your organs started to die. But, like, you absolutely made the choice to start Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, you've got to just understand the problem with Final Fantasy XIV, Chance. You'll now never play another game again. Because you won't have time, because you need to play Final Fantasy XIV. When am I going to play Final Fantasy 16? I don't know. I feel like next year I should start. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do next year when we're not focused on RPGs anyway, but I feel like next year I should really make a big effort to go through a bunch of the PS5 games I've got. Recently beat Pokemon, doesn't matter, it's Pokemon. You get no respect for that. And you started Art and Ellico Koga. I saw that, actually. I was out last week, maybe? I was out recently. And I saw Art and Ellico Koga, and I looked at it and I was like, should I buy this? And I was like, no, I don't like Art and Ellico. No, I couldn't do a year of PS5. I'd run out of games to play very quickly. Boy, I've bought a bunch of stuff for the PS5. Like, I got Stellar Blade and Astro Bot last year for Christmas. And I've not played them yet because I'm like, I'll stream them. Which is always a frustrating mindset. Like, let's have the first experience of it on stream. And like, I want to do a bunch of the Remedy stuff. I got Alan Wake 2 Deluxe last year. So I want to do, like, go through the Remedy stuff with that, and I need to redo Max Payne 1 anyway. And then do Max Payne 2, and I'm genuinely really looking forward to playing through Max Payne 2 again. Yeah, I feel like you're just being emotional, Chance. Don't let Pokemon cloud your emotions. Why would you ask me to switch after 2 full levels of having it like this? But you know what you could have been playing while recovering from oral surgery? Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. Definitely should have caught that. Yeah, you've got to fix it. You can't just get another one because the prices of the 3DSs have jumped up now. I'm seeing a lot of 3DS stuff on Instagram pop up of like people playing 3DS again. I was like, oh, I modded my 3DS and I got a 3DS for this and that and blah blah blah. And it's kind of surprising to see it all out there. So you gotta fix what you got because you probably can't afford another 3DS. Not at these prices. You can't have any kind of retro hobby these days unless you're willing to throw down so much. Yeah, I know, I responded to it, Chance. Did you not look at my response? Mention it for those who didn't see. Who is here who might not have seen? Amber and Nelson are lurking. They might not have. Okay. You get away with it this time. I mean, yeah, the whole piracy thing, like, the ideal would be to back up your own files, sure. But given all the trouble involved in actually doing that, it's much less hassle to just download it. Check your 3DS cart soon. Mm-hmm. Also consider hacking your 3DS Bane. Because you know what 3DS game isn't on cartridge that you should absolutely play? Shin Megami Tensei 4. That didn't get me anything. I hope hacking the 3DS is easier now than when I did it. Because it is something worth doing. Yeah, I feel that. That's why I stream. When I have the time, we stream, and that gets me playing the games. Because otherwise, like, even without the time, I'm not doing anything. But then that itself is a double-edged sword, because there's a bunch of stuff I want to save for stream. Like, even the stuff that I have played before and want to replay can be a case of, like, I don't know if I replay this, if I'll ever want to do it again after that. Where the fuck did they respawn from? Yeah, what if you want to do this on stream? And every now and then, like, very occasionally, I end up playing something off stream. And I end up sticking with it. But it's not often. And it's great when you're then there playing something, and then you finish it, and it's like, great, now what? Now what do I play? And it does genuinely cause me to resent the stream sometimes. But there is also, like, on the other hand, like, you could say, like, oh, why don't you just, like, not stream, or do less streaming? Streaming is my biggest focus point. Streaming is my biggest focus point for games. It's like streaming a Tensei Strange Journey. I fucking adore that game. I haven't played it since I originally beat it. And I probably wouldn't have played as far as I have in the current playthrough I'm doing on stream if I tried to again. Streaming is like my commitment answer to video games. They do genuinely have trouble committing to this stuff. Again. And it's like the thing with Dark Souls 3, of like... I enjoyed Dark Souls 3 a lot, and I have thought about replaying it, but I probably will not ever end up replaying it. Unless I do it on stream, and I'm probably not going to do it on stream because there's so much other stuff I want to do on stream. Stick all through July, needs something to do. Yeah, I would have probably ended up just replaying something rather than starting something new. Like, that'd be my problem. Excuse me. Fuck off. Yeah, I hit that guy specifically because I was expecting stars. Yeah, the actual sitting down and playing games. Though there's the trouble of playing games on stream, of feeling like you've got to perform well as well, because you're doing it for an audience, even if there's not an audience there. Don't call me baby. I'm just that good, Clem. You notice that this boss is... that noise is the same noise the Deku King makes in Majora's Mask. I finished Minish Cap on Sunday. Overall, I came out of it not enjoying it as much as I'd hoped. Yeah, it's a fun idea of, like, how do you beat this boss? You keep hitting it until its pants fall down, and then it embarrasses itself to death. That's kind of a curious idea. Alright. Yeah, because, like, there's the whole thing of, yeah, I've seen your Vati cosplay. And there's the whole thing of, like, you talk about inspiration for the first boss. And it's like, yeah. The first boss being a regular chew that you fight while you're small is cool. It's a pretty inspired idea. When that same idea turns up later as a mini-boss, okay, you'll lose points for that. And then when they do the same thing again, where the boss of the fourth dungeon is just another enemy that's regular size while you're small. Okay. I feel like we could have done better than this. Especially because the boss of the dungeon after that, in the Wind Palace, was really unique and interesting. It's not a fight I overly enjoyed, but it was really unique and interesting as far as Zelda fights go. Alright, who wants to pick the next game? Do I want to pick the next game? Yeah, I remember when Chance was telling me that he's really good at paneled upon. And then we played, because it's Tetris Attack. But because the Tetris license is a specific thing Nintendo doesn't have anymore, this game on Switch Online is the Japanese version, paneled upon. And Chan's like, oh, I'm really good at paneled upon. And then we played together, and I think he won once. It turns out I am also quite good at paneled upon. You know what? Here's a game I grew up with. That probably nobody knows. It's funny because I've probably played way less of it than you have. It's just that when I do play it, I pretty much only play it in verses. So this is kind of a Lemmings-esque game. I need to turn the integer overscale off. Yeah, I had this when I was growing up. I remember, like, getting pretty far in it, though I never finished it. Gonna have to be careful that I don't hit King Arthur doing this. There we go. So the goal of the game is each stage to get King Arthur to the chest at the end. And so to do that in this stage, we have to use the archers to clear the way. And like the first, like a significant part of the game is learning how to use all of the units. There we go. So now we can switch to King Arthur. If King Arthur dies, you lose. I never knew what doing this means. Chess will say yes, moves slow. He moves about the same level, the same speed as all the other units. Okay, so now we have Barrelman. Immediately got hit by one of the guards with a slingshot, so immediately blew up. Okay, so we're gonna need 2 more. Though it would probably also be a good idea to get the king inside so he's out of range of being hit by the slingshot guys. I remember getting pretty far in this as a kid. Never finished it. Okay, so the only thing we've got to watch out for is that guard pouring the hot oil. Well, that worked. Oh, he died. I wasn't going to play that for long anyway. So yeah, that's a game I grew up with. So, Clem, Chance nominated you. Oh, see, you should have been here before when we asked you. I think it's a real game, Clem. I'll have to wait till we ask you again, Teague. The one that Teague said, you bitch. So it's worth being aware, if you're not aware of like the specifics of the Death and Return of Superman storyline, how stupid most of it was. At least not Maximum Carnage. I've played further into Maximum Carnage than this. It's a good point though, it's odd that Teak wasn't like, hey, play one of the Spider-Man games I'm always trying to get you to play. It's kind of odd that this is where the storyline starts. His range is so much longer than mine is. But yeah, it's a single-player beat-em-up. You're gonna shoot the Man of Steel with a regular gun, and it's gonna be very effective. Like, that doesn't seem right. Blizzard games of the time period back when Blizzard did do console games, generally had a reputation of like having like really good presentation. I feel like there's elements of this that have really good presentation, but on the whole, most of it isn't. But I believe there are 5 playable characters in this. Like, you play as Superman, and I believe you play as each of the 4 Supermen who show up after Superman dies. So, Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, Superboy, and Steel. And then, pretty sure the final levels, or maybe just the final level, is played as Black Suit Mullet Superman. As you would expect. But I don't think you play as Cyborg Superman when he destroys Coast City, though. And you certainly don't play as Cyborg Superman dealing with the aftermath of that. Where Green Lantern goes insane and becomes Parallax and destroys the Green Lantern Corps. I took no damage during that. Good work, me. The first and last time Hal Jordan was interested. Oh, don't you remember when he tried to be a good guy again and flew into the sun to save it during Final Night? Better question, don't you remember Final Night? And that was how Hal Jordan originally died. No, this is I feel like becoming the Spectre happened after Final Night. He had a different name around the Final Night time period, and I can't remember what it was. The point is, like, there's a reason comic books in the 90s were failing. Like, financially. And it's because most of them were shit. Oh, that was exciting. Are you all riveted at this gameplay? I feel like there's nothing as good as explaining why a good game is good than showing a bad game in the same genre. And it's like, oh yeah, Turtles in Time was really good. Here's an example of a similar game that isn't. Who the fuck is Closter? He's so proud of himself, and it's like, who was Closter? Not even the Justice League can stop it. And it's like, take a moment and explain to me who was in the Justice League at this moment in time, because it wasn't any heavy hitters. It's the fun thing of, like, explaining to somebody the whole way that the death of Superman happened. And, like, a lot of it begins with, like, the Justice League was made up of jobbers. Oh yay, Guy Gardner. He'll save us. There is a mildly interesting thing in The Death of Superman, where Supergirl at the time, Matrix, which... fucking helpful. Like, Matrix is something I have no interest in explaining to anybody who doesn't know what Matrix was. But suffice to say, she's a version of Supergirl who was not a Kryptonian. And was hanging out with Lex Luthor's illegitimate son, Alexander Luthor, who would later be revealed to just be Lex Luthor in a wig, who would fake his own death. Which, like, So yeah, Supergirl at the time goes up against Doomsday and gets, like, one shot. And then, credit where credit's due, the only member of the Justice League capable of standing up to Doomsday at the time was Maxima. Now, unless you know comics or you know the Superman animated series quite well, you probably don't know who Maxima is. Which is the state the Justice League was in at the time. Suffice to say, I think the Death of Superman animated movie does a better job of the whole setup, because it has the Justice League as you think of the Justice League, with all the A-listers. And so when Doomsday is taking down, like, the Flash, and not Green Lantern, because, let's be fair, that was Jobber Green Lantern. Wally... no, it was Barry Allen, that one. The one that's called The Death of Superman. And, like, there's build-up to it, to Superman arriving. And, like, Wonder Woman's holding her own, barely, and it's awesome. And, like, it really does highlight Doomsday as a threat in a way that the original comic storyline couldn't. I can't believe Doomsday killed Superman. I feel like the immediate problem you have here is, like, okay, you're playing as the Man of Steel. Oh no, a guy with a gun. Oh no, a guy with a chainsaw. Alright, Teak, you can pick a game. Yeah, like, I like Superman Doomsday, the movie. Like, I think the Superman Doomsday fight is, like, really well done. As well as they could have done at the time with the censorship they were under. And I think the actual choreography of it is quite interesting. No, Teak, we're playing Super Nintendo games, not Master System games. Well, I do think having Doomsday like tear through Prime Justice League is a good way of setting it up as a real threat. Jurassic Park. Worth remembering, do I even have Jurassic Park? Because it is fucking garbage. I don't have Jurassic Park, great. Worth remembering, the Super Nintendo version of Jurassic Park is... It's not even kind of. It is boring and not fun. Like, the Mega Drive version, yeah, it's a fun game. I'll absolutely give you that. The Super Nintendo version? Not a chance. See, I literally just played King Arthur's World. Yeah, the Super Nintendo one is an odd top-down exploration thing where you've got to collect dinosaur eggs. And then occasionally you go indoors and it's a first-person shooter segment and it's not good. Like, the first-person segments are kind of fascinating for the tech of the time, but it's largely tedious and wandering. You see, it's the funny thing, see, because King Arthur's World is what we were doing before the death and return of Superman. Like, it's literally what I was doing before this game. We'll give you some time to come up with something else. Clem, you said you have one? Yeah, because it was like, okay, I'll pick something. I was going through the list. I was like, oh, King Arthur's World. This is a game I had growing up, and I showed it off a little bit. The entire reason why it's here, it's completely unremarkable as a game. It's just, I have it in my collection, my ROM collection. Blackthorn, what a choice. I have it in my ROM collection because I grew up with it. Alright, so after Blackthorn, we'll do Sparkster. This is also a Blizzard game. I have 3 versions of this. I have the Super Nintendo version, I have the Game Boy Advance version, and I have the 32X version. Shot everyone and everything. Yeah. You do the back shoot. You do the back shoot because it looks cool. Don't care about the story. So this is a game Bane might enjoy, actually. Because it's a cinematic platformer. Chance has money. He used to. Gontapog, no idea who that is. Ninja, great. Bane, great. Eccentric Meal, don't know who that is. And Fairy Joanna, I don't know who that is. Don't have much way to do something. Chance, you should have saved your money. I appreciate you just being here. Blackthorn, no survivors. Blackthorn. Are you the chosen one? I don't know. Could the chosen one do this? You have to go now. Your planet needs you. Yeah, I just appreciate you being here, Chance. And thank you so much. Now Bane can enjoy all the emotes. Blackthorn, no survivors. That's right. Bitch. I don't know what that is. Bane subscribes to somebody else and not to me. The betrayal. It was a free gift sub as well. Well, Klim subs anyway. Peak subs. They've both decided I'm worth paying for. Chance, you didn't give yourself a sub. Thank you so much, Chance. Yeah, it amazes me that people decide that this nonsense is worth paying for. Gun. Gun. Look at my gun. Teak gifted a sub to Chance. Thank you, Teak. like to have access to your emotes and other channels. You decide that emotes are worth paying for. Like, I think my really face emote is a good one. And, like, the smile, the AI smile on the really face is also a good one. Like, the rest of them is just like, eh. I think I do the really face, like, better than a lot of other people. Thank you, friend. Blackthorn, no survivors. Thank you, Chance. Like I said, I just appreciate you being here. It's always a good chance when you're here. It's always a good time when Chance is here. Gotcha, bitch. Take care, Chance. Have a good day at work. Right in his stupid face. Well, that went well. A hype chest? What does that mean? Okay. Was this before or after flashback? I feel like this is 93. I think flashback might have been the same year. But flashback's big claim to fame is its impressive 3D graphics for the time. Like, rather than its gameplay. Got the fish from the hype. Yeah, it's a weird emote there. Thank you, Chance. Yeah, this game, like I say, I have 3 versions of this game. I have it on Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, and 32X. I don't know what the value of the 32X version is over this version. I imagine this version has better colours. Gotcha. Was I here earlier? No. But I would need to destroy that generator to get past there. So I need to get underneath. Blackthorn, no survivors. Why would you need a bomb to escape the guard? Is he immune to bullets? Is he immune to buckshot? The infinite buckshot I have? I love that Blackthorn just has, like, seems to have the gun wedged down the back of his pants, like he's gripping it firmly with his mighty buttocks. Yeah. Flashback got a, like, speaking of Flashback, Flashback got a... That was the wrong button. Got a Sega CD version. That does not restore as much as I would have liked. I did it! Blackthorn, no survivors. There was nothing to be done. Or to destroy the skeleton. Speaking of passwords, this game having a 4-character password is also quite good. Thank you. No survivors. Greetings. Well, you know what they say about living without hope. It's no life at all. Hello. Is he? Oh, this guy. I don't like that he's out cold. I want him dead. Perfect. Maybe I could get into one of these games stream. Maybe I should do Abe's Odyssey. Maybe I am an old man now, and I need these slower paced games. You think it's worth just doing new and tasty rather than the original? I would have absolutely done the original. I'm stupid that way. What do you mean he didn't drop anything? He dropped my nuts in his mouth. Alright, that's 2 levels of that. It will frustrate me. Yeah. Alright, Teague, did you have another one? Did you say another one? What did you say? Sparkster. Right, there it is. Which, for those who don't know, Sparkster is one of 2 sequels to Rocket Knight Adventures. A game that Konami, oddly, only put on the Mega Drive. If there was any character deserving of being Konami's animal mascot, it was Sparkster. Sparkster! Is this the one that's often subtitled as Rocket Knight Adventures 2? Look how good this looks. Going up. Like, look at this. Konami at the top of their game. Look at the personality in this. Going down. They brought Sparkster back for an XBLA game called Rocket Knight, developed by, I think, Climax Studios. Which I don't think did that well. And then nothing came of it since. But I think it is available on backwards compatibility. So the gimmick is that Sparkster, our main character, is a Rocket Knight. And as a result, he has a rocket pack. He's also an opossum. And if you hold the attack button, you can charge your rocket pack. And do, like, big attacks like that, big movements. I think it's a system that works best in the original Rocket Knight, but Sparkster is also, like, really good with it. Sparkster on the Mega Drive is a different game. And changes it up so your pack charges automatically. Which sounds like a good thing, but the removal of control of it definitely makes it more problematic than helpful. Because, like you see here, it can be really frenetic. I think all three of the Rocket Knight games are worth your time. Like, they're Konami games that have unfortunately just kind of disappeared from public consciousness, but they absolutely deserve to be played. And I don't think they've ever been re-released. Rocket Knight Adventures might have had a Wii Virtual Console release, maybe? You're just gonna keep going. Seek, you got the Mega Drive Mini. Was Rocket Knight Adventures on there? You got the Mini too, right? I thought you got the first one. I thought you ended up with both of them. It's possible. It was like, even if Rocket Knight Adventures didn't get a re-release on Virtual Console, like, the Mega Drive Mini had another game on it that had never been re-released before, which was Castlevania Bloodlines. The Mega Drive Mini was the first time Bloodlines was re-released. Oh no! Sparkster! But yeah, if you're on a Mega Drive binge and like you're after something that you've probably not played before, Rocket Knight Adventures is a good time. I can't believe he can aim straight down. I love Sparkster's design. I feel like he's got the look of the traditional 90s platformer, mascot platformer, like with attitude. But like he's got a lot of cuteness to him as well, which I think sets him apart. Like, look at him there, just hanging by his tail. Not even, like, arms folded or anything like you'd expect. Oh. They're doing it back at the start, haven't they? Really? No, get the banana, Sparkster. Oh. This could be tight. That was an instant death. God damn. Yeah, that's straight instant death. Kill Sparkster, I guess. It's nasty. Nasty having something like that in a platformer like this. I hope they're not instant death. Careful there. Don't get caught in that one. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh dear. Well, Bane, I think we'll have one more choice from you, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, this is absolutely a game you'd probably have adored if you had this as a kid, though. And again, like, look at Sparks' design and how cool that is. How did this guy only get 3 games? And Konami just never bothered with him after the PlayStation. Like, as far as I'm aware, with the Rocket Knight reboot... Oof, that's a rough one. As far as I'm aware, with the Rocket Knight reboot that was on XBLA and PSN, I believe Climax specifically pitched that to Konami themselves. It wasn't that Konami was after making a new Rocket Knight game. Climax wanted to make a Rocket Knight game. Doom on the Super Nintendo. Very technically impressive. One of the worst ways to play Doom. It's already started without me pressing anything, and it's like... So there's no delay between, like, the camera and the stream. So here I am pressing, like... Then look at me pressing left, and look at the delay time between pressing it and moving. It's like a full second of input delay. So Doom on Super Nintendo runs on the Super FX2 chip, and technically it's really impressive. Like, the gold standard for this on console for a long time was the Atari Jaguar version. Like, I think the Sega 32X version came out first, but it was built on the Jaguar version. And the Jaguar version has a bunch of stuff cut out. Like, I think it's missing the entirety of Episode 3. There are maps from Episode 2 cut out and such. This game, I think, has all of Episode 3. Which was unique. I don't think another console version of Doom had all of Episode 3 until the version on original Xbox that came with Doom 3. So, like, that's impressive. The downside is, it looks like shit and plays like shit. I say, this is not good to control. You can also see, like, it's running at a lowered resolution. Like, the screen's much smaller than normal. The window there is missing for whatever reason. The switch to open that part up was also missing. And here's one of the more interesting aspects of this. This game has dedicated strafing on the shoulder buttons. Really cool. Very interesting for the time. It does not have circle strafing somehow. The gratings here are gone. Gonna try and get this secret. That's difficult enough to do on like a good version of this. I don't know if it even exists in this version. You've got to cycle through your weapons. I got it. I did it. Oh, if only Flame could see me now. So yeah, for whatever reason, like, you can strafe and you can turn, but you cannot do both at the same time. Like, let me get back into, like, like one of the earlier rooms where there's space so we can see. So it's like, I'm going to turn right and I'm going to keep holding it. Okay? As soon as I press a strafe button, the turning stops. And then continues. The terrible encounter with the Puma rendered him blind. It's an absolutely fascinating version of Doom, and the fact they got it running at all on the Super Nintendo is impressive. And like I say, not the worst way to play Doom. That is the 3DO version. But absolutely not a good way to play Doom. And especially in this day and age when you have options. The rendition of the Doom soundtrack, though, on Super Nintendo sound hardware is really good, though. Try and make out, like, what any enemy is. Especially at distance. Somebody shot me. Where are they? They're up there. Yeah. It's like, you've got to really appreciate the gumption and, like, the effort that went into trying to do this. And the fact that it runs at all is impressive. But it's just not good. It doesn't even have the Doom guy smile when he gets a new weapon. Is that just a BFG? I don't think it is. The fact that you've got to cycle through your weapons as well, not great. really don't want to go into the maze like this. At some point, like, maybe not me, because I'm not a big Doom historian. Like, maybe Flame, somebody. Like, I think it'd be really neat for somebody who can, like, point out all the differences to go through, like, the original console releases of Doom. Specifically, like, the Jaguar version, which was worked on by id. Which is why, like, so many of the ports afterwards are based on that. Like, I think even... I think even the PlayStation version, PlayStation Doom, the Doom 1 levels are based on the Jaguar port. Here's a fun thing as well. Doom... Oh, really? Okay, that was the entire reason I even came in here, for that secret, but it's just not in this version. This version of Doom is also somewhat harder for another reason. To save on memory, the enemies have had all of their sprites removed where they're not facing the player. So the enemies are always facing the player in this version. So the chainsaw's there, so the secret should be there. Go back and take a look. If it is, it's not opening the way it should. Yeah, there it is. It's just not opening the way it should. This is one of those secrets in Doom, and it's the first one you come across, that is opened by shooting it. But we do this, we get the chainsaw. Which is probably awful. Like I say, like, I gotta give a lot of respect to the people who programmed this and put it together, because, like, while it isn't good, it is a technical achievement. It is very impressive. It's like with Doom on the 3DO, like, undeniably the worst way to play Doom, but it was also coded by one person in, like, 6 weeks. Like, Rebecca Heineman, who handled, like, almost all of the coding for that version. Like, absolute monster talent. Fun fact with this is one of 3 Super Nintendo games to get an M rating. I don't intend to play more of this, though. You know there are people out there who got this as kids and played through the whole thing. And it's like, it's rough, buddy. Shaun was huge. But that's going to do it for us for today. I want to thank everyone for joining the stream. I always really appreciate the support. Big special thanks to everybody in chat. Chat's always the best part of the stream. Clem, Chance, Teak, Bane, Amber for the raid, Emily, Nelson has been lurking. I don't think he chatted, but I appreciate Nelson being here. Spunk, Megumi, Panda, Chance for the gift subs, and Teak for the gift sub to Chance. Thank you all. I did say Panda. Yeah. I think Panda was the last name I said. Thank you all for joining me and keeping company. This has been a fun birthday stream, I think. Just messing around with Super Nintendo stuff. When we come back, we'll be back to the year of RPGs with Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. The Legend of Sundays is going to continue with Four Swords Adventures, and Banjo-Kazooie will return for the daylight streams. I believe Mr. Charisma is streaming today, but I don't know when he'll be starting or what he'll be doing. He's not online right now. Though Foxhound Cat is online right now and is currently streaming God of War Ragnarok. I'll give Cat a shout out. Legendary streamer Foxhound Cat. She's cool people. But yeah, that is pretty much it. The birthday stream. So, there's not really anything else to say, except thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic time of day, and take care. There's the possibility of coming back to some of the stuff we did today for full playthroughs, like Yoshi's Island, DKC 2. Possibly Turtles in Time, like set up Fightcade and play through Turtles in Time with another person. You'd probably be pretty aware of like which games I wouldn't do full playthroughs on, but just because they were on this stream doesn't mean I'm not going to do these games fully. There's always the thing down the road. A lot of games are eventually. We'll catch you next time, guys. Bye. Magic! It's Magic! Does Magic have a sound alert? He does! I couldn't remember. Magic, thank you so much for stopping in, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Bane. We always appreciate Magic. Magic, don't play Doom on Super Nintendo. You got better when you turned up, Magic. We'll catch you next time. Bye.